So today we are going to talk about 3 different ways that you can market in your Instagram stories for free. 3 ways that you can show up, 3 ways that you can interact with your clients. So first thing that I'm going to tell y'all is Instagram stories does not have to be perfect. This is where you can be very creative in certain things. With your feed, I think that more creators are going more towards not having like a perfectly curated feed that's like a pleasing to the eyes. But I think us as photographers have a hard time with that just because like our whole business is visuals. And so when we go to someone's feed, we want it to be very cohesive. We want it to be pretty because that is the whole thing that we are selling, right? We're selling images that look gorgeous and have a certain feel to them. So even though they're moving more towards not having a perfect feed, I'm still very much into the perfect feed just because like that's my brand and like I don't want to mess with that. But stories is a different story. No pun intended. You can do whatever you want on stories. It doesn't have to always match your brand colors. It doesn't have to be a perfect representation of you, right? And not only that, but it disappears after 24 hours. It's a great way to go ahead and interact with the people who follow you because sometimes, I don't know about y'all, but commenting on pictures, it's a lot harder to get people to do than it is interacting with your story, whether it's like a little like, a little heart, or they actually comment, or if they click on a poll, or whatever it is. It's a lot easier to get your audience interacting. So I'm going to talk about ways that we can show up in our stories and get people interacting with our stories. So that way our stories are pushed out to more of our audience. So that way they can see it. Um, we're going to talk about like ways that you can not only just market your business, but also market yourself. Because at the end of the day, a lot of our clients are going to be booking us because they like who we are. The market, I can't stand when people say, oh, don't say the market's not saturated. It is. I mean, there's a lot of people out there with cameras who are charging less than you, charging more than you, who have similar style to you. But the only thing that separates you from all of those other people is how you show up, who you are as a person, your personality, and what you put into your brand, and how you um, have client experience and what you do differently for your clients and your families. And in your stories is how we are going to show it. Okay. So first thing that I want to tell you guys to do is an obvious one. Share content. So this is not just sharing your own content, okay? This is like if you are on watching someone else's if you're following another account. So, for example, I'm a Christian woman. I love the Enneagram. And so I follow a lot of those accounts and I share things like that. So if they post something that I feel like is relevant to where I'm at that day, sometimes I will post, and I also have anxiety. So, like sometimes if I see a Christian verse that talks a lot about anxiety or calming the mind or trusting God, I will share it on my stories because that's part of who I am. I can write a little caption and say like why I'm sharing it, but most of the time I just share it for other people to see. And I get a ton of reactions. A lot of times people will heart or do a little clapping emoji or whatever. And that provides me an opportunity to talk to them and just be like, yeah, I know, like, it's so funny that these verses always come up at like the opportune time or the right timing and stuff. But how are you? How are you doing? And it starts that conversation. So sharing stuff like content that just is who you are outside of your business. It could be about children. It could be about, you know, I would encourage you not to do anything like major that people have like strong opinions about, which is like, politics or like, those big issues. Because at the end of the day, like, this is our business. If that is something that's important to you, then go for it. But I like to think of when you're sharing things, share it so it's not like someone opening your closet, you know what I mean, and finding everything in there. Like show little bits and pieces of you. Show what is like comfortable for you to show people. You don't have to sit there and show like all the nitty dirty things about yourself on social media because please don't. It is supposed to be like the highlight reel, but also and on top of the highlight reel, realness, right? And who you are to an extent. Okay. We don't want to scare away our clients by being like, too aggressive with the things that we believe or think about or happen to us or anything like that, but sharing little bits and pieces of you so they feel connected to you. super important. Okay. So this is a great way, like I said, to showcase your personality by sharing other people's content, but you can also share your own content. Okay. So, for example, I am a family beach photographer. I love shooting at the beach. So, if you go to my Instagram, you are going to see most of the time beach pictures in my feed. But I also shoot other places other than the beach. And this is where I'm going to put it in my stories because I still want to showcase my families and stuff. And I still want to do things like that, but it doesn't match my feed. So I'm going to post it in my stories. This is a great way to if you are not a newborn photographer, but you don't mind doing lifestyle newborns every now and then, but you don't want to like advertise that you do it, post it in your stories. If you, like I said, like to shoot at a certain location and you're shooting at other locations, post it in your stories. This is another way that if you want to post an image of yours in the stories and like tag your family and say like loved working with them or happy birthday so and so, hope you have a great fifth birthday, or anything along those lines, you can use stories for this specific purpose. So I know it sounds silly to say this because I feel like most people are like, well, duh, share stuff, but share things. It's important to have something in your stories at all points of time. Sometimes I like to give myself like a 24-hour break just to kind of like reset and then do, post again. But try and stay relevant. Start just share stuff, okay? I encourage you to follow accounts that like are things that you like, not just other photographers. The second thing that I'm going to tell y'all to do is utilize the polls and the questions, okay? This is a great way to get people to really interact with your stuff. And I'm going to tell you guys how we do it personally and how we're going to do it business-wise. So for personal purposes, have fun with it. You can sit there and say like this or that. Are you guys the sweet people? Or are you guys more the savory kind? And like go through that. Or you can even ask questions of like, um, who, let's take a quiz on like how well do you know me? Would I rather go to the beach or would I rather go to the mountains? And this is getting people not only to know who you are, but they're like playing a game with you and they're interacting with your content. So the more people are interacting, the more opportunities you have for conversations and DMs. So let's go ahead and go with the this or that, for example, all right? So if you post a bunch of stories lined up and it's a this or that with the little poll thing, okay? And you say like, would you rather queso or guac? And if they're voting, you can sit there and see in your stories that they voted, right? And so I would go to everybody who said guac and say, yes, you are my kind of person, guac all the way. Like, are you a margarita girl too? Like asking questions like that. And then if they say queso, my son loves queso. So I would say, oh my gosh, my son would love going out to dinner with you because I'm the guac person, he's the queso person. And just saying something like that to be able to interact. They interacted with your content. Now it's okay for you to interact with them. So that's the way that you can do it personally. When it comes to business, we're going to go ahead and talk about mini sessions just because we have the new mini session course. So if we post something in our stories and say like something about like, are you, or mini sessions are coming, are you excited? We're not going to say yes or no because if a lot of people end up saying no, it's going to look bad on your stories. What you need to say is like, heck yes, or I'm so ready. And then the people who interact with that, you can then message them and be like, hey, mini sessions are going to be this weekend. Like, here's the link. I would love to talk to you about it. So it just gets a way for not only they're interacting with your stories and your stories are getting a lot of attention so that way they can see them, but it also giving you an opportunity to talk to them in your DMs. How we can utilize questions is if you do it like the personal route, you can sit there and ask like, get to know me, ask me a question here, and you share those answers and you share those responses. You can either like, go live and or like a little video and say like, someone asked like my favorite color is blah, 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 because blah, 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 blah. Or if you would prefer just to type it out, you can do that way as well and share like images of yours or just do a plain backdrop. It doesn't have to be complicated. Social media is all about being social. Like, so utilize the questions and the polls. I don't use the quiz feature too much just because I feel like it's harder to interact with people through that way. So I like to do the yes or no or ask me a question, and it gets people interacting with your posts. If people aren't doing it the first time around, don't think that all of a sudden, like I did it once and now it didn't work, so I'm not going to do it again. It is something that you have to keep doing. Okay. All right, so the third one I'm going to say, which I feel like most people are going to hate me for, is you need to show your face. I know as photographers, a lot of us would prefer to be behind the camera rather than in front of the camera. It is super awkward to record ourselves and listen to ourselves back, okay? I get it. Trust me, I know that I go live a lot. I know I do YouTube content a lot. I know I show up in stories a lot. But it was very awkward for me at first too. And sometimes I cringe still listening to me being played back. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I saying here? But the more that you do it, the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. And a lot of people want to see your face. They want to know who you are. Because once again, just like I said at the beginning of this video, what separates you from the photographer down the street that has literally the exact same style as you is who you are, what you bring to the table. Y'all, I have had some people book with me before just because I talked about how much I love guacamole and I had a guacamole branding shoot. How crazy is that? They literally told me, I like guacamole, you like guacamole, so I figured it was a perfect fit. That is insane. But that's what people want. They want to they want to purchase you. Yes, your work is gorgeous. Yes, all that stuff is amazing to back up who you are. But at the end of the day, they want to work with someone that matches and fits well with them and their family. And that could be you, but you have to show who you are. So, things that you can do to show your face, all right? One of them is going ahead and just talking, all right? So, we can do this personally and we can do this business wise. And I encourage you guys to switch it up between personal and business. Don't always be trying to sell something, okay? Let people know who you are. You can sit there and say like what you're doing this weekend. You can like have like the kids piled on top of you and be like, editing. It doesn't have to be like an actual like you talking to the camera. It could be a boomerang of you trying to edit while the kids are on your lap, or like this is the morning that we have. I'm trying to get the kids breakfast while answering emails or whatever it might be. Show your weekend, like what you guys do on the weekend. Maybe you're at the beach or at the park or whatever it could be. Maybe a basketball game. My son plays basketball and baseball, so I show that kind of stuff a lot. So do whatever you're comfortable with, but show yourself, show up. If you are talking and you want to talk like into the camera and personal stuff, just like explain like what you've got going on today and be like, is anybody else like a busy mom? Always do a call to action. So a call to action is what you want your audience to do after they watch whatever they did. Whether it's like a post that you post on Facebook, a story or whatever, you're trying to tell them like, this is what I need you to do. So you can sit there and say like, anybody else have a crazy weekend this weekend? I feel like with XYZ as the spring is coming and the warmer weather is coming, like we're always outside, always on the go. It's just been absolutely chaotic. Am I the only one? Anybody else feeling this way? And people can message you and on the stories and be like, yes, me too, girl, or like give you like a hands up or whatever. Um, so show up in your stories, even if it's personal. When it is, sorry, I've got my little notes here. When it is more so business wise and you're showing up for your business, you can do behind the scenes. You don't always have to like be talking into the camera, like I said. Show yourself location scouting, show yourself behind the scenes at a session even. You can show like your clients and stuff at a session, or you can like take a picture of you and your clients. Like showing your face is something that is so important in your stories, and it shows people that like you are a real human being behind the computer. If you want to talk on camera, which again I highly encourage you to do, you can sit there and talk about like sessions that you're doing, or hey guys, it's spring, I'm booking up really fast, I only have a couple weekend spots available. I'm just encouraging you guys, like grab your spring mini sessions, or grab your sessions before the summer hits, before the hot weather hits, if you want to do something like that. Or you can sit there and talk about like something that is important to your business. Like, hey guys, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the difference between sunrise and sunset and why I prefer sunset. Because let me tell you, the light is absolutely gorgeous. We can get better pictures at the beach, like whatever it might be. or you can go to Target or a department store and show like, hey, this would be a gorgeous dress for a session. Like these are just little things that you can think about by showing up in stories. And it shows people your personality, it shows people who you are. And, again, people want to see your face. I promise you, like, think about like, would you want to go see a photographer? Would you book a photographer without knowing what they look like? I wouldn't. 100% I would not. I don't care how much I love your work. If I have no idea what you look like and I show up at a location, like that's not going to happen for me. So show up as much as you can, even if it's uncomfortable. I feel like it gets more comfortable the more you do it. So encourage that. So I will be posting marketing videos all month, and I cannot wait to dive a little bit deeper into free marketing.